Welcome to episode 18 of the Tri-State Hockey Podcast presented by Novig. I'm your host, Jonny Lazarus, joined by my good friends, longtime NHL reporter Arthur Staple and Stanley Cup champion Mike Rupp. Just to be clear off the top, we won't be doing any voicemails today, but we will have a bonus episode tomorrow where we will do only voicemails. So by the time you're listening to this show, I will have tweeted out a link to leave voicemails for tomorrow's show. We already have a ton to get to, but we don't have the time today, so we wanted to make sure all your voices are heard. So if you want to leave a voicemail about the Islanders, Rangers, or Devils, go to my Twitter page, find the link, leave a voicemail. I'm sure you guys might tweet out a link as well or retweet it or whatever, but that's where you can find it. We obviously got to talk about the Islanders and Devils, who both beat Minnesota in Minnesota this past week, and then the New York Rangers, who are now tiptoeing around rock bottom. We will start with the Islanders. We'll start positive and we'll finish negative. First of all, how are both of you doing? It's good to see you guys, as always.
You too, Johnny. Everything's good.
Yeah,
sorry,
we're all good, buddy. Just trucking along here,
you know? Did the Islanders win social media of the year after that pond hockey post in Anders Lee's backyard? That's where it was, right?
I think so. I don't know if it's like strictly, it's the pond in the neighborhood where he grew up.
It's not his personal pond.
Probably not. Could be.
I think it was actually Lee Lake is what it's called.
That's what I actually did see that's what they were saying it, like as a joke maybe. But that's what the guys were calling it.
Lee Lake.
But man, what a feel good story, what a feel good game. What a, again, we're talking about vibes, right? The Islanders, not only they have the best vibes of these three teams, but they're now getting close to the top of the NHL, I'd say, as far as camaraderie goes. But a huge win on the road. Simon Holmstrom, 3 points, beautiful overtime winner. A couple nice plays from him in that game. But I guess what's the main takeaway from it? Feels like the Islanders haven't played a game in a week. What's it been? 4 days? 3 days?
Couple of days. Not too bad. First off, I would shout out to the creative team from the Islanders that was there. George Josie, who's been one of their photographers for a long time. Tyler Brocious, their director of social. Corey Wright, director of editorial.
I love Tyler.
Those guys are, they're unleashed this year, and it's really spectacular to see what they can do. They've done some great stuff over the years, but I think Islander fans were clamoring for more, and Lou Lamoriello had his rules. You don't do necessarily stuff like this, but I think the creativity that they're bringing to their team that's traveling, kind of an impromptu thing. I know Anders kind of went around to the guys, at least from reading Corey's story, that he wanted everybody to bring a jersey. Some guys didn't bring him. He pulled his old Brooklyn black third jersey out for Barzy there. A couple guys just with some random ones on there, a couple guys with some amateur hockey ones.
Yeah.
But you saw the joy that they had, and that, that stuff, Rupper, you can definitely get into it, but like that stuff happens. Teams do that. I think we saw, was it Austin Matthews out in Denver, went on a buddy's outdoor rink, got a little, played with some kids. Like, guys are doing this stuff all the time. Being a hockey player, I've never played in the league or anything close to it, but I've been around all these situations where guys, especially on a long road trip, you got to find a way to have fun in a wholesome environment. And I think involving their creative team and showing the world basically that these guys are tight. They know how to have a good time. Team building. Anders is, this is another example of why he's such a fantastic captain for that group. He knows how to press the right buttons. I think with the backing of Matthew Darsh and Patrick Waugh, just a fantastic way to spend an off day. And, it maybe hits a little different if the record's a little different, but they come off a really gutsy win in many, like we were talking about. Good games for guys like Simon Holmstrom and Tony DeAngelo. Another good game for Ilya Sorokin. And then you can get this out in the world and kind of on the off day, you're still winning. And that, that seems to be the way that they're progressing through this season, surprising people on the ice and now kind of surprising people in the social and digital space. And I agree with you, Johnny. This is going to be one that's going to be remembered for a long time, no matter what happens with this Islanders season.
You know what it reminded me of, Rupper?
What?
The scene in Miracle when they're playing football outside the Christmas party. Like that's kind of that's kind of the vibe that I get. Maybe this Islanders team is the 1980 USA team. Maybe it's the Miracle.
Maybe. I think that this. First off, Arthur, you said it. I mean, this is the creative team. They hit a home run here, so this is something awesome. And I think it's really important for fans to see that type of stuff. The side of that, the players absolutely love it, eat it up. I mean, think about it from the standpoint of the dog days of the season when you're sitting there and it's just the days, it's Groundhog Day. So you're looking for anything to kind of change that, but let alone the one thing that we all share in common is players is your love for hockey and a lot of outdoor memories. It brings you back in time. I mean, you got youth hockey jerseys, some of them there, maybe old junior teams. It was awesome. It was so cool. I found it really interesting. Like when I was watching it, I was just looking at everyone's sweaters they were wearing. You get the smiles on their face. You're messing around. You got some kids out there on the ice. Like that is hockey in the purest form, not to get all mushy on it, but
It's true.
when you have time like that and look at the sun's out that day, I mean, that it doesn't get any better. I mean, that's almost like one of those moments where you sit there and you just say, like, life is good, man. And
Yeah.
you may think, well, life's always good. These guys are making a lot of money. And you don't feel like that all the time in the NHL because hockey has become a job at some point along the way. And you love it. You're appreciative of it. But there's times where you need a day like that, like to remember, where it all came from, that love of the game. And to have that with your buddies, your teammates, I thought it was super cool. We've talked about it on here. This bond that this team has, the closeness of this room, it was awesome. I mean, that's something that's great. I mean, they got 7 of 8 points in their last 4 games. But it's great. I've had moments in my career where you have get-togethers. I mean, I remember being out in Vancouver and going and doing curling for a day and learning. All of us were learning how to do curling. It was cool, man. It was a really good way to bond. But this is a little bit different. It was awesome.
And like Arthur said, it's a start of a lengthy road trip, right? They lose in a shootout, I believe, right? To Nashville. Was it a shootout?
Yeah.
Again, like that feels like so long ago already because it's been a while. But and they come back and beat Minnesota. And like talking about that game, in a vacuum, we have talked about Matthew Barzal and Matthew Schaefer the entire year and how good they've been. Probably one of their quieter games on Saturday, right? Like didn't really notice Barzal a ton, didn't notice Schaefer a ton, but you find the guys, you find the depth scoring, right? It's Peugeot who chips one in. Cizikas chips. I think Cizikas was shorthanded too, no? Off the feed from Holmstrom, who again, like Simon Holmstrom, he must be the best shorthanded player since Michael Grabner, right? Like, I mean, Holmstrom is a threat every time he's out there in a 4-on-5 situation. But when you get, those guys who don't necessarily chip in, night out, to come up in clutch moments against a really good Minnesota Wild team, like that's when you start to believe more and more and more. Like I can't believe how nice I've been and complimentary I've been about the Islanders all year, but they really have just impressed me all year long. And this is another one of those games where they did that. Like Sorokin puts on a great goaltending performance, and it's the guys who you need once in a while to step up and just find some offense that do it. And honestly, one of their most impressive wins of the year, I'd say.
Yeah, it's it's Rupper. You'll mention it too, but like I think it was Patrick Watt kind of told a story to their media the other day about somebody came up to him in a restaurant out on Long Island, said what I love about you guys is it doesn't matter who it is, somebody's always
I didn't see that
stepping up, and it's a good little story to tell, and I think Rob believes it. And you look at that game with no Bo Horvat playing against a team that's can skate rings around everybody and has for a lot of the time that Quinn Hughes has been there. And I mean, Simon Holmstrom's 20-goal guy last year. I think he's that shorthanded assist. He's tied since he became a regular 3 years, last 3 years, 14 shorthanded points for him. He's tied for the league lead. It's him, Peugeot, Mika Zibanejad, and I think Sam Reinhart. This guy is, he's an under the radar guy. He was a depth, kind of a 20-something first round pick a few years ago by Lou, and kind of worked his way up very slowly with a lot of games in Bridgeport as a teenager. And I think, he's only 24. He's still kind of emerging, but, and I love in overtime there, really subtle pick play by Tony D, where he gives off the puck and he cuts and he clearly just like clips Boldy a little bit, gives Holmstrom a little room, and Holmstrom takes it. It's a guy maybe earlier in the season, the confidence wasn't there. He might not have recognized that space and kind of taken it straight to the net. Like you said, it's, we were talking about Anthony Duclair busting out in the game against Jersey. And so he gets moved up to the top 6. They haven't done a whole lot since he got moved up. And you could say, oh man, I'd like to see a little more consistency from him. But here comes Holmstrom, and here comes Pajot. Here comes Max Shabanov, who had a really good game. It's an all 20. They got to have every guy pulling on the rope. I've been saying it about, I've been hearing that quote going back to Jack Capuano being their coach in the mid 2010s, that like, this is never going to be a team that's going to overwhelm you with skill or high end talent or just blow you out of the water. They got to get good goaltending. They got to get good D, and they got to get some timely scoring from people. Been that way for decades. And, that's where they are right now, and I don't think Horvat's in Winnipeg with them, so they're gonna wait to see him. And I could make my case now for Ilya Sorokin for the running away with the Vezina. He's got better goals saved above expectation numbers right now, a little past the midpoint of the season, than Connor Hellebuck had to finish last year when he won the Hart Trophy in addition to the Vezina. So I think Sorokin has really been a guy we could talk about him every time. So it's
no argument for me.
I feel like we're talking the same stuff every week about the Islanders. We're talking the same stuff every week about the other two teams, but it's all negative, and it changes a little bit because there's so much drama. No drama, all great stuff. And Islander fans probably don't know what to do with themselves because it hasn't been like this for a while.
No, it's great. You want to keep kind of saying that and tooting that, because I think there's been so much drama with the other two. We've been on a good job, I think, of saying everything's great with the Islanders, but like what there's not much to really dive in on because they're playing a good brand of hockey. We love what we're seeing from them. But this is, you mentioned Holmstrom. I remember, I'm trying to remember if it was last season or maybe the end of the prior. Thomas Hickey came up to me and he's like, "Rupper, you're gonna love this Holmstrom, man." If he goes one thing, start when you're watching the Islanders, just start focusing on him and the way he plays. He's so good. He's so intelligent in what he could do. And I know he's had a slow start to the season and he's starting to pick it up a little bit, but I think that's what makes this team so dangerous. And I'm glad you brought that up, Arthur, is that thing from Patty Waugh, because I think Vic grabbed the clip here. I love it. I get goosebumps thinking about it. Vic, maybe we can play that if you've got it.
Good job by you guys. That's the hockey we're going to need to play. Yesterday I was in a restaurant and some fans came to me and talk about us, saying, "You know what I love about your team? It doesn't matter if you're missing guys or you play. There's always one guy that come through for you guys. Just need to continue to do the same thing." He's right, and I agree with it. We always have someone in this room that stands up will make the difference. We just don't know who it will be, but we know it's someone in this room.
God, that is so the opposite of the Rangers.
I see something like that. And I don't know.
You guys are jealous, I can tell.
Yeah.
It was something where anybody saying that, and it's bang on, it's true. It's just not some fodder that a coach is trying to throw out there. This is what that team is. And that's what makes them dangerous, in my opinion, because you've got the high-end elite talent. And we've talked about it numerous times, how this is a different Matt Barzal this year. We know about Matthew Schaefer. I mean, they've got talented players. You've got, I think, one of their better finishers as far as what he can bring to the table on any given night. He's done for the year, and Kyle Palmieri. And this team just has other guys stepping up. I love it, but it feels like it strikes a little different when it's Patty Waugh saying it. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know if it's the accent. It might have something to do with it. Like that's from a goddamn movie, boys. Like that was unreal moment. So they got something special. I know we keep saying that, but I love that. And Patty Waugh right there, he's bang on.
Let me ask you a question though, for both of you. And here's where I'll find the negative, but it's a positive. It's a positive negative. I don't know if there's a word for that. With Sorokin's goaltending performance, with how good this team has been, with how they're answering every call, with how open the East is, how do you look at what's in front of them and kind of let it go to waste just because you want to stay composed in this rebuild and not rush anything? But this could be a year where it's pretty open for the Islanders to go for it. But at the same breath, like, you don't want to get too horny and ruin what's a good thing, right? So maybe that's the negative. Maybe it's like, how do we let this much momentum go to waste? But they might have to stay patient.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. There's no chance you let this momentum go to waste. And here's the thing. you still got some time here. I mean, we're talking 45 games in. There's still a lot of hockey to be had. So we're going to pump them up a lot. But what they do now to the Olympic break is it's imperative if they want to have a legit push all the chips in the middle, they've got to keep this shit going. Because if they start plateauing at all, and this is, you said, wide open. I mean, this is a team that's sitting second in the Metro. It's, if they keep on the gas here, like, it's going to force them. I don't know what you think, Arthur, but I don't think there's any chance in hell you deviate off the long-term plan if they're going to be a second place team in the division, if they're going to compete at this level and the goaltending you're getting. I don't see any other way than eating some of the guys that are potential UFA. If it's adding pieces, fuck it, you do it, man. This you don't get these years very often like this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at the landscape, like, what is putting the pedal to the metal? Is it a trade for Jordan Kyrou? Because I would do that even if they were 10 games, they were 10 points up on the playoffs or 10 points out. I would consider a trade for Jordan Kyrou. That's a guy that everybody might want. Change of scenery, 20-something, proven scorer on an established deal, so you don't have to worry about signing a big long-term deal once an extension, making that happen. But if you're talking more like, well, let's Matthew Darsh, let's bring up Chris Drury and see what we can give them for Artemi Panarin and try to convince him to come here. That kind of stuff I'm not so sure about. I'm still not sure what the rental market is going to look like at all. I agree with you, Rupper, that I think guys like Lee and Pajot, who are pending UFAs, you got to ride it out. You don't, even if you're not going to negotiate an extension before the end of the season, even if their agents are saying, hey, we got this great thing going, sign us up for 3 times 6 or whatever, and you can keep it going. You still gotta keep your powder dry if you're Darsh, I think, there, because you need to see this to the end. You never know, injuries, whatever. Those guys are both mid-30s now. So there's a case for keeping them for sure, and the case is what you've done so far. So you don't worry about losing them for nothing if you get to July 1, if you're having a great year. I feel like that's a video game type of mentality where you're not feeling the vibes. And I think those kind of videos, I saw some reactions online like, how could you trade Anders Lee after he organized this incredible day? And I'm like, everybody understands it's a business, but also, I think people are now starting to understand what kind of guy he is. And he's been the same guy all the way along, just a fantastic, solid guy and a great captain. So, I don't think it changes anything internally. It just sort of changes outside the perception that, like, oh yeah, we can recognize what this guy's done. But as far as the, pushing your chips in, yeah, if there's something there that makes sense for them, I hate to sound like I'm putting out the GM cliches that they all say, like, yeah, if we can make our team better, we'll do it. But I think it's really true for them in this case that, like, if you can get a cost-controlled guy like a Jordan Kyrou, even if Alex Tuck becomes available and you say, okay, he fits what we can do and we'd be interested in extending him, then maybe you kind of jump the line there and make that trade. There's guys out there that are young enough. I feel like if you're kind of inching more into the high end rental market, whatever that may look like, I'm still not sold that they're gonna do that. I think you've got what you've got, and I think you can convince yourself that when we are healthy, and obviously Palms won't be there, but the rest of the team could be healthy by the playoffs. You say we finish with 102 points, and we've got the Vezina Trophy winner backing us up here. We can beat anybody in a playoff series. We can beat anybody in 4 playoff series or 3 playoff series, at least to get to the finals or a conference final. So why should we be mortgaging our future? I think that's an argument you can make for this team internally to not do anything drastic to deviate from the plan.
100%. I mean, that was a well thought out response. Yeah. Go, Rubber.
No, can I offer something else too? Just a different angle to look at it that kind of is, I don't want to say out of the blue, because they knew when they got a first overall pick, they were going to get a franchise defenseman. I don't know if anybody saw Matthew Schaefer being what he was already. So here's the other kick of it. And this is what always makes so many organizations so intriguing to me, is that when you have entry-level contract type players, young players, on their entry-level deal, and they are playing like legitimate, I don't even want to say stars. Like, you're just getting a lot of value out of it. That's when you have to strike. You've got now 3 years of Matthew Schaefer at $975.
Mm-hmm.
That changes the narrative a little bit. So as long as this team is showing that they are, if they don't plateau, it's not just about making the playoffs. If they look like they can make noise in the playoffs, like we have seen lately, I think that is, you have to look at you have this 3-year window, because the kid's going to get paid and he deserves
Cal
every
Ritchie
dime
too.
of whatever he gets paid. But you're going to have a potential number one defenseman, whether it's next year in the third year of a defenseman making $975. That allows you to spend and to use your cap in other ways. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to be a good team when he gets his whatever it is, 10, 11 million, whatever that number is per year that he ends up. Yeah, it's higher than that. Whatever that number is, that doesn't mean that that's going to, but you've got this window now where he's making under $1 million, man. So that to me, Johnny, puts even more emphasis. If this team's showing they could do something, these next 3 years are huge.
I couldn't agree more. And if I'm an Islander fan, which I know a lot of you think that I am, I'm all in. I'm going for it. I mean, again, but like you said, both of you said it, I think, this opportunity and this tight window that we're in just for this year, it's rare, right? Like the Eastern Conference, I'm convinced the Islanders could beat the Hurricanes in a playoff series right now. Why not? If they get Sorokin playing the way he is, I could easily see the Islanders winning a playoff series. And they could beat Detroit. They could probably beat Tampa. Like, it's just been one of those years where I think anyone in the East could beat anyone. The scary thing is Florida getting healthy, and then it's a different story. But until that happens, we don't have to talk about it. Any other thoughts on the Islanders before we move Devils and really just go from up here to all the way down here with the next two teams?
We're not all the way down. We're
not all the way down.
Stepping down slowly.
Stepping down slowly. So Devils, obviously all the Dougie Hamilton news came out. He vetoed a trade to San Jose over the summer. They scratched him against Winnipeg. Last night comes out, what do you have, 2 assists last night? Great performance against Minnesota. I only saw the highlights because I was at the Ranger game, so I couldn't watch the game entirely. I think you guys probably have a better feel for that game, but just based on what I saw, it seemed like the Devils had a pretty good full 60-minute effort there.
They were awesome. I thought it was a great game. Now the way the game started, but that's all part of it. The way the game started was they were in a little bit hang on mode. I mean, you had Minnesota had glorious looks. You had flubbed shots, missing the net. You had, Markey was really good in this game. I think that's something that was a great sign, especially since that shellacking last week. His game was good prior to that, and it's right back here. So that was massive. There's so many things. I mean, they competed in a way that I haven't seen them compete in a while. And so I think that was just Nico Hischier was incredible. He was his fingerprints were all over that game. But you mentioned Dougie. I mean, that's the kind of Dougie that Dougie needs to be for Dougie. Like, now I'm not even talking about for the Devils. If Dougie Hamilton wants to continue to be a player in his career, whether it's in New Jersey or elsewhere, he's got to bring that level of commitment to competing. And because when he does, he's effective. And we saw that last night. When he does not, that's a bad contract. So however this plays out, the first and foremost in these types of situations, a player has to play if you want to move him, and he has to play well. So that was a good step, I think, in that game last night.
Arthur, did you get a chance to watch that closely?
Yeah, and it kind of felt like the reverse of some of their games where you feel disappointed, like we've talked about, whether it's the Devils or the Rangers. You have a good first 10 minutes, you don't score, and then you're like, the other team comes down and scores, whether it's on their first shot or first chance, and you're like, here we go again. And then we've seen the Devils do that a few times, and they flipped the script on that one. They were, like Rupper said, they were kind of on their heels for the first 7 or 8 minutes. Looked like Quinn Hughes was in the fastest skater race at the All-Star game. He was just circling the zone with the puck. No one could catch up to him for the first couple of shifts he had. But Markstrom was good, and they held the fort. They didn't give up a ton of space in the middle of the ice in the D zone, which is good. Tried to keep a lot of stuff to the outside, and then good way to capitalize with Mercer on the first one. And it just felt like there's a lot of relief on guys' faces, a lot of smiles. Dougie was smiling. Jesper Bratt was smiling with 2 goals. They just looked like, Palat. You could see how happy guys were for him to get those 2, and he was digging around in front of the net, kind of doing what he's known for. He hasn't really done a whole lot this year. So yeah, you obviously want to see more of it when they move on to their next game later this week. But it's a good step. I don't know what you do now as whether you're Tom Fitzgerald and Sheldon Keefe. Like, they made their adjustment, obviously a demonstrative move, sitting Hamilton out, and then you put him back in because Nemitz wasn't very good in Winnipeg, and Dougie has a good game and feels rejuvenated. Mm-hmm. Is this now, are we talking like, let's keep him in there and showcase him, or are we still going down this road of the point of no return where we can we've committed to this move? You saw comments from JP Barry, Dougie's agent. You saw, a rare comment from Fitzy to Pierre LeBrun. Once you make that kind of move, like we saw, say, with Jacob Trouba last season with the Rangers, once you say we're sitting somebody out, it feels like we're at the end of the line. You say, okay, you've got your 10-team yes list for a no trade clause, so a 20-team no trade list. The agent says, well, we'll start to work something out. We know this is, past the point of no return. Comes back in and has a good game. I don't know that you can, if you're Sheldon Keefe, you can advocate to Fitz and say, hey, we got to keep this guy in because he's helping us win. It's still, you can't let the tension, the waiting seep back in, because we've talked about it so many times that like they've looked like a team for 2 months that's waiting for a shoe to drop. The shoe dropped last week with Dougie, and now we're kind of like, are we going to walk that one back because we won a game? I don't know, man. I feel like we're kind of in limbo here still. They made a demonstrative move, but haven't followed through on it yet. So maybe in this week we'll see his name be out there a little bit. We'll see more teams that are going to inquire and see if they can fit his contract, or Devils will retain, and then they'll have less of this drama. But frankly, if Simon Nemitz is still coming off his injury and still not really playing that well defensively, and you take Dougie off this team, are you punting on this season now? Even as mediocre as Dougie has been, there's a lot of questions swirling around my head that haven't been answered yet.
That's what I wanted to get to. Also, Rupper, do you want to say the stat you just found too before I kind of transition into a next topic with the Devils?
No, just it was I actually want to just tag what Arthur just said about the Dougie situation too. And we don't have to. It was just if we get an opportunity afterwards, maybe to show a stat on. It was an awesome stat that Mike Kelly brought up on X last night about Nico Hischier and puck battle wins. But we'll get to that in a minute. But the Dougie Hamilton thing is very interesting to me because, and I know fans, and we listen to you fans, whether you're calling in and we're on social and we're live tweeting games and doing all that good stuff. Like, I know the fan base. If we go back, and I don't really want to go back a week or 10 days ago when the Luke Hughes situation. Yeah. And then there were some people thrown out there and reporting that they believe that the fan base is upset because they feel like he gets treated differently. Here's the thing that we have to take into account, and you have to look at it from this standpoint. Has Luke been incredible this year? Absolutely not. He's playing pretty good right now. Since that booing, I think he's been fine. He's had some bad moments too on the ice where goals against, but the whole team has before last night's game. But I want to say this. Simon Nemitz is in a different situation because he is a right shot, right defenseman. That is a strength of the Devils, the right side. So Dougie, when Dougie came out of the lineup, you look at some of his underlying numbers this season, he has been better than and ranked one of the higher underlying numbers defensemen on the entire team. Now, we know that he hasn't been playing great, but his numbers, some of the analytics are saying something different as far as like, if you're going to pick someone, he should not be the guy. So, but we understand the circumstances too. You're trying to move him and maybe apply a little bit of pressure in this situation. You pull him out of the lineup. But if Simon Nemitz, and he has been pretty bad the last few games that he was in, they have better options. Kovacevic they need him in the lineup. They need a defensive defenseman in the lineup. You're not going to take Brett Pesce out. And so you're going to Dougie Hamilton in this situation. Like, some people would argue he didn't deserve to come out to begin with. I understand why he came out. So this is why Nemitz is out. So don't say, I saw it again yesterday where people are like, how come he gets pulled out of the lineup? But then, Sheldon Keefe said a couple weeks ago, I'm not going to take Luke out and shake his confidence, but you're okay to do that to Nemitz. It's a different situation. You don't have left defense depth for Luke to come out. So that's one thing. I think they're going to do whatever they need to do to win each independent game. And that's the thing Sheldon Keefe should do. I think he's got the freedom to do it. And that's what they did last night against Minnesota.
So here's where I want to kind of tie this conversation together, because now I feel like Devils fans are in a bit of a predicament here, where there was a report yesterday I saw, I think it was Elliot Friedman actually, maybe on 32 Thoughts, that said it, that the Devils are going to reassess Tom Fitzgerald's, seat as GM at the end of the season, right? Like that was made pretty clear in that report that Tom Fitzgerald's job right now is not in jeopardy. So if you are a Devils fan, are you rooting for them to figure it out this season and then maybe Tom Fitzgerald's job is safe? Or are you kind of sitting here like, you know what, let's just see it turn into shit. We'll get a new GM and maybe someone can help right the ship. Like what are you rooting for if you're a Devils fan right now? You got to tell me are there any Devils fans that believe they could figure this out this year right now? None that I'm seeing.
I mean, why couldn't they? I mean, we've just seen two teams, the Leafs and the Sabres.
Because they seem done with Fitz. They seem done with him.
Yeah, but again, they don't get a vote. You know, they don't know how if someone is saying, well, they have internal candidates. I don't know. Those are all people that were brought in by Ray Shero or Fitz, pretty much, whether it's Kate Madigan or Dan McKinnon or Jim Mill. Like, they're really good support staff. And when things were good and when they were stockpiling all these really talented guys, everyone was praising them. I feel like the benefit of this season is that, they've already won 8 in a row earlier in the year. If they win 8 in a row now, like, they're where the Islanders are. Everybody seems to be able to get points. So when you fall behind, you are really behind. And I think when we talk about the parity, the problem for that is that as the calendar keeps clicking along and you get into like 50 games and 60 games, you run out of real estate because there's so many teams ahead of you. This is why when Columbus made their coaching decision, I was kind of like, what are they doing? They're toast. Like, they're sitting at the bottom. We'll get into the Rangers. Rangers now look like, we're finally waking up to the fact that like this season is probably over for the Rangers, 99%.
I don't
think that way. I don't think that way about the Devils. I think they're still in that group above where if you get on a run like the Leafs did, like the Sabres did, suddenly you're back in the conversation. And we know this team can get on a run. My standing policy is no matter who the GM is, barring any sort of like ridiculous circumstances with the GM, like if you're rooting for your team to lose to get a new front office or a new coach, you are asking for so much fucking trouble because you don't know who's coming in. You don't know who like if you have a great drafting record and your draft guy leaves with the old GM and you bring in a new guy who's not as good at the drafting thing or player development or whatever it is.
None of that's a worry with the Rangers.
But we also know that Chris Drury's job is not in jeopardy because Jim Dolan came out and said it. I don't think Josh Harris has said anything yet. Maybe we can take that Elliot Friedman report as something that comes from ownership and that the evaluation comes in the summer. But I rooting for them to go down instead of up. Like Jack could pop his shoulder again in October of next season, and then you're fucked again for another. Like there's so many.
Why would you even fucking
put that
say
out there?
that right now, Arthur? My God,
if
there's one player to not joke around about that with.
This is like a choose your own adventure, and all the pages that you could go down if you say let's lose and so Fitz can be gone. 98% of them could be just disaster.
Yeah,
there's so many different timelines we could head into.
Just pulls the pin and just launches the grenade.
I mean, whatever. How can you get more absurd than putting up his pinky?
No, you're bang on. No, you're absolutely right. Like this is it's, if anything, I'd love for this report to be true, and I'd love for the organization to come out and say it. I think the players need to hear that nothing's changing because we've talked about it to nauseum. Like
they're probably on eggshells right now.
I want to know what's certain right now. If I'm a player, who's going to be here? Am I going to be here? That's why we always talk about the trade deadline, why it feels so good for players like, made it through. Maybe my name was out there. There's rumors and you at least know what you're working with. A lot of times too, if you're a playoff team in the picture or you're close to it, after the trade deadline, you're like, all right, boys, it's in the room here. This is what we got. Like, we got to figure it out. If you're sitting there waiting for somebody to come through, it's just a different mindset. So I would love for there to be like, hey, we're not doing anything. We're going to reevaluate everything at the end of the season, which every team does. And that will at least tell the players, like, you got to figure it out right now inside that room. So I don't know, man. All I got to say is that Minnesota game was one of those games that'll reel you back in as a fan because they looked impressive and they looked really good. And that was against a really, really good team that's been playing a good brand of hockey for a good stretch of the season. So, yeah, I can't imagine fans being like, oh man, like I just lose every game so we can get Fitzy out. Like that's a weird way of looking at things.
That's probably my friend Lewis and Pasha from Spin Chicklets. But that's a perfect transition to Rangers. Again, reminder, we're having a bonus episode tomorrow. We'll get to all the voicemails. I know we don't have a lot of time for Rangers today, but let's try to spend the last 10 minutes or so talking Rangers here. And
we probably got a boatload of the calls, I would assume.
I would imagine. I would imagine. But going off of what we were just talking about, Mika Zibanejad last night in the postgame said, we're looking for answers in the room. We're looking at each other for the answer, but no one seems to have it. Something along those lines. And then Mike Sullivan said, we got to find the answer in the room. So I asked, based on what Mika said, based on what Sullivan said, like, is self-doubt creeping in? Because you're looking for an answer in the room. Two of those answers are Adam Fox and Igor Shesterkin, and they're not in that room right now. So, the self-doubt, is it there? And the end of his response was, it's not from a lack of care or a lack of commitment or a lack of try. I can promise you that. Is that him sugarcoating, saying like, we are just not good enough? Like they're trying, but we are not good enough. That's what I'm getting. And I mean, I feel bad for the coach, and I kind of hate saying that because like it's a coach's job to figure it out. But what the hell else can he do with this roster right now?
I mean, that the game on Saturday, which, probably lucky that we didn't have we weren't recording the next day because we'd be all over it. The 10-2 loss on national TV in Boston. That was, a lot of, it wasn't like it was 20-3 high danger chances. I think it was like Bruins scored 7 of their 10 high danger chances. And I think we're, it's a reminder that Igor Shesterkin does a lot for this team. And we've said it before. And Jonathan Quick is, almost 40 years old. Hard for him to step in as the number one guy these days. But you saw some plays in that game, whether it was Kuznetsov, who's a little guy, just bodying Braden Schneider on a drive to the net. Just little things where you're like, I understand that they care. You can never, like, accusing somebody of quitting or not caring is, to me, the biggest accusation you can make of a professional athlete, and you don't do it lightly. But you wonder where their heads are at. Like, there's guys that have been here since the start of last season. Schneider's one of them. Some other guys, Mika, whoever. Like, they're a losing team. They're a bad team. They were a bad team last year. We could say the turmoil was the main reason. They're a bad team now. We could say the injuries are the main reason, and those can all be relatively valid in the narrow window of this season and last season. But they are a 500 team now for a season and a half. I think I said this last episode. That is a bad team. And bad teams find ways to lose games. They find ways to look like they don't care. I think Alexis Lafreniere, his play against the Sabres, where he kind of had that, like, I don't remember comment afterwards.
Yeah.
You're just, we talked about the vibes with the Islanders. The vibes are so off with this team. And I'll bring it up now. And we were debating it a little bit in the chat, in our group chat last night. No welcome back video for Ryan Lindgren, guy who gave his body for the Rangers for 7 years, and I think he bled in every game that he was playing.
Blood per 60, not even close. This guy bled every fucking game.
And you can feel whatever you want to feel about Capo Caco, like second overall pick, a great kid, a really nice,
really good kid.
Like make a 30-second video for these guys. Give that impression to the rest of the league that if you play here, you're special. And they did it for Kreider, and they did it for Jacob Trouba, who left under much more acrimonious circumstances. And I'll tell a funny story from a few years ago. So the first year I started covering the Rangers full time was Chris Drury's first year, and he made that kind of one of his first moves was trading Pavel Buchnevich to the Blues. Mm-hmm. It was not a trade that worked out. He got Sammy Blais and a draft pick. I think the draft pick part worked out, but Sammy Blais was not equivalent. It was an acrimonious kind of the first indication that Chris Drury was interested in kind of breaking up some of the core that hadn't had much success. And St. Louis came to the Garden that season, and the video, I think, was about 10 seconds long. And then they showed Booch on the bench, and he looked shocked at how short it was. And I can tell you now, we were in St. Louis soon after that, and Buchnevich was not playing that night. I think he was hurt. He was walking around the building in St. Louis looking for Chris Drury to give him a piece of his mind. So you have that, and I think they've kind of set a tone where it's like you have to be consistent with these things, and also you have to understand. Like Ryan Lindgren won like the Players Player Award, like he's a Stephen McDonald winner. Like show some appreciation to these guys who moved on. Get the vibes back in your corner, because what you're putting out on the ice is turning people off. If you're going to turn people off the ice too, like what do you got left?
Yeah.
I don't think like it's like here's the thing. Not to go into that whole conversation about tribute videos and welcome backs. I think it's the dumbest thing that we do in the NHL as far as
agree.
We do this over time. Like, I've always thought, like, no, man, if you
does
win
any other sport do that?
No,
it's just it turned into like this. It was too loosey goosey with every team. I'm not talking the Rangers.
Yeah.
I remember a couple weeks ago with the Jari situation, he didn't get anything, and I made a comment about it, and then I did some digging and found out that the Penguins kind of have like a team issued thing where they only do it with guys who win the cup. And so I understand that, and it makes a lot of sense. So once you set that standard, it's fine to follow through. But this is the thing.
100%.
We were talking, and I asked you, Arthur, I said, well, what did we do? We saw Trouba and Kreider. So I understand, like, Kreider is a different animal for me.
Yeah.
So I understand that one. But like, Trouba got one. And
Trouba was there the same amount of time as Lindgren and Kakko.
And listen, like, let's be like, I couldn't stand how Trouba was treated. You guys hated it, Jacob Trouba. He got a video. Ryan Lindgren didn't get a video, and then I'm like, all right, well, let's look at some of the other ones. I asked, did Ryan Strome get one? I don't know if he did or not, but Barclay Goodrow did. Like, are you kidding me right now? Barclay Goodrow's going to get a video?
He didn't get it. Goodrow didn't get a video. He got the same, like, welcome back.
Welcome back.
The little acknowledge. Yeah.
Same so did Ryan Carpenter, who played 22 games.
He did?
He got the same.
No way.
Yeah. He got a welcome back. Yeah. Ryan Carpenter.
They got to publish like a tier list of like who get like what are the qualifications.
all I got to say is, like, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. But it's just weird.
No.
It's just weird. Yeah. It's strange.
But the little things turn into big things when there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels kind of weird in some ways that it's not, Ryan Lindgren. And at the same time, I don't want anybody to get the videos unless you've won a cup somewhere. So, but it maybe just you say something like, hey, we're going to start a new thing where we're not going to do this unless I don't know. But it just feels strange that Ryan Lindgren didn't get anything.
Yeah. I don't want to say. I mean, maybe we're talking about it, so we're making a deal of it. But like, it's one of those. It's one of those things where you just get a
5-minute conversation.
Yeah, we're making a big deal of it. But you notice these things, and people around the team and around the league who've been with the Rangers or know the Rangers notice them. So it's more of like an inside baseball kind of conversation, and maybe the fans don't really care. But I feel like you said,
fans
Johnny,
care.
it's like.
Fans care.
You have these little things, and they build up, and you can, if you're winning, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you are if you're a first place team, you can say, yep, we didn't do it for this guy, but we did do it for this guy. Sorry, we're not so consistent. Whatever, no one will care. But when you are down in the dumps, as the Rangers have been now for 130 games, you got to start winning some hearts and minds too, a little bit as a franchise. Like, we're looking at the Islanders, and if the Islanders were sitting where the Rangers were and we were praising them for the pond hockey video, maybe it would feel a little odd, but they're trying. They're trying to tell people what it's like inside the Islanders, and the Rangers are not trying to tell people what it's like inside the Rangers, other than to say, hey, when you leave, whether it's free agency or we trade you, like, yeah, maybe we'll do something nice for you, maybe we won't, but so what? And I don't know. It's a minor thing, and it takes up group chat time. It shouldn't necessarily take up a lot of time covering the team, but it's noticed. It's noticed, and when we move on to the next, I don't think there's anybody else left for this season, but I think guys maybe file that stuff away. We've talked about all the circumstantial evidence about, like, do they love Adam Fox? It's Adam Fox's closest friend in hockey, guy who was his partner, his roommate for a long time before.
Well, now you're really making it a big deal.
I'll save that. Yeah. We want to get some voicemails talking about it for tomorrow. So conversation started.
Yeah, listen. We've said it, but like it just was weird. Nothing more than that. Yeah. Like I just thought it was weird. Like it's not like, oh my God, this is. I just thought it was strange. But the thing, I don't know where we're getting with them right now, because what are the Rangers, and maybe some people are already past that. I mean, there's 6 points out right now. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams between them and Buffalo for the last wild card.
Most games played.
Most games played. Like it's funny. I was running some numbers yesterday, because in a season that we talk about how close the East is, how wide open the East is, how everybody's in it. I mean, you have teams who are in last place. I mean, look what Columbus just did with their coaching, and they came out, and Don Waddell's like, we did this because they're trying to save this season. So they believe, whether we think they can or not, they believe that there's still ability to come back and get in that playoff picture, because they're not that far out points wise. But here's the thing I will say: Buffalo has won 13 of 14. And when you start looking at going on that type of run, I mean, when you start looking at in that same stretch of games, so December 9th is when Buffalo's streak started. The Rangers were, I believe, what were they? The Rangers were 8 points up on Buffalo at that time, and the Rangers through that stretch went 5-8-2. So the Rangers were really bad during that stretch, and Buffalo went on that huge run. I mean, that only put them 6 points up on the Rangers. So I guess my point is like, you're going to, if you right now, the Rangers being 6 out, where's that magic number? I think it's 9, maybe double digits. If you get this to 9 or 10 points, and we're talking the middle of January, and the way this season is played, and everyone's getting points, the loser point and all that good stuff, I think you're done. Like you're going to have to go on a 13 of 14 run, and you're going to have to ask those teams, the 5 teams in front of you, the 6 teams in front of you, whatever that number is. And this goes for a bunch of teams. The Florida Panthers would fall under this category as well, where you're going to need every team to be sub 500, where up to this point, there's no sub 500 team in the East. You know what I mean? So they were like, what used to be,
it's just the Rangers.
10 points.
Yeah, there's
what
one.
Used to be
there's
10,
one.
There's what used to be 10 points is now like 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a little different year here. So I think it's basically, to summarize, getting to like must wins here for the Rangers if they're gonna make a push to get in.
Yeah, it's like some sort of algorithm where it's the points that you're out, but it's also the games you played and the number of teams in front of you. There should be some
and how you're playing.
Point. Well, yeah, you can't if you're the only team under 500. Is everybody expecting them to play 650 hockey the rest of the way to suddenly get in? It doesn't. Johnny, you were in at the game in the room last night. They start off with 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game. Mm-hmm. They weren't dominant in the first period, and then what do they have? 11 shots in the first period, and then 12 or 13 total the rest of the way. Like, can you feel the air coming out of their game bit by bit as that game goes along?
I think I tweeted out in the first period, like, yeah, the Rangers are up 2-0. The scoreboard looks great, but that's not how the game felt. I think even just looking at high danger chances after the first period, it was 2-1 in favor of Seattle. Mika's goal, not considered a high danger chance. It's a bank from behind the net. Carrick scores a nice one, off of a bad puck bounce for Seattle. But throughout the rest of the game, I remember looking at Sports Logic in between the second and third, the grade A chances were 4-0 in favor of Seattle. Like the Rangers were they had the puck in the first period, but they weren't dangerous in the first period for the most part. Everything that they got was self-inflicted by Seattle. And the rest of the game, the Rangers, I mean, that goal, the third goal Seattle scored, that Shane Wright goal, Brennan Othman must have turned over the puck 3 times on that shift. And then they have a bad change in the back check. You got 2 guys checking one in 3 different scenarios. I think it was Trocheck who handed his guy off on the entry to Robertson. Then Trocheck and Robertson are the same guy. Then Gabe comes in late. Then I forgot who shifts over late. And then JT's coming from the bench and he doesn't get to the front of the net in time. And just like that, the Rangers go down 3-2. Like, it's just one mistake after another that quick, and that's how the puck ends up in the back of your net. But the building last night after that third goal, the Rangers get a power play, a chance to tie the game. Fans are booing. Panarin slams his stick. He's frustrated. Didn't even mention Braden Schneider and JT Miller's collision in the second period. I mean, what the fuck was that?
That was
looked
brutal.
like a team. Like a routine play.
If you
I don't know
put
where
another
Schneider was going.
jersey, if you put a different jersey on one of them, I'd be like, shit, that was like one of the best hits of the week.
Yeah, but just again, just these things just keep piling on and piling on and piling on. And Arthur, you mentioned Lafreniere. Like yesterday, Mike Sullivan made it clear in the morning. Like Lafreniere got a demotion to the third line. It's performance based as well as it is to try to balance things out. And last night, I didn't notice 13 on the ice at all. Don't think he had a shot. Barely had the puck. 2 hits. You'd think that would piss a guy off, right? Like that's what you'd want.
Pissed off Dougie Hamilton.
Pissed off. Yeah, and there was just nothing. Like, I don't know what to make of it. I complimented Mika Zibanejad though, because he's on a 6-game point streak right now, and they've lost 4 games in a row, and he's got I think 6 goals in his last 5 games. Yeah,
that's the thing that sucks is that we've been Mika's been MIA the last season plus. And this year he's been like really good, man. Like was that not one of the biggest question marks in the offseason is what are the Rangers going to do with Mika Zibanejad? And what is he going to bring? He's a shell of himself, all those things. And he took it. And even the way this season has gone for the team, Mika's been really good. Like really I don't really have much to say about Mika, except I see a difference. And that's great. So it's like, why can't these things ever line up at the same time? You know what I mean? Like it's like you're getting a great Mika right now, but the team is shit. And it's that's got to be a big frustrating point, I think.
If I could add one thing to that too, Rupper, I said it this morning on our show Morning Cup of Hockey, but like for the fans that are like, oh, it all started when they did that to Gaudreau and Trouba and they traded Kakko and all these things. They have traded away basically all of Mika Zibanejad's friends, and he's out here playing. So if you want to make that excuse, like Mika's the one guy who probably could have and should have quit on this team. I think they went to him and asked him to waive his no move this summer. He said no. He's made it clear. He loves New York. His family loves New York. He wants to be in New York, and he's playing like it. So what the fuck is everyone else doing? That's what I don't understand.
He might be the one guy on roster.
He's also not an angry guy. You can't ask him to be angry. He's just not an angry guy.
No. He's bringing it. He's bringing it, and he looks to be visibly trying to do whatever he can.
Mm-hmm.
And all you ask is that everybody do that. And you might not get to the level that Mika's at, but you'll get a different
in your
level.
own way.
Mm-hmm. And that's the frustrating part, that it doesn't seem like that's always happening.
Mm-hmm. Arthur, anything?
No. I mean, we talk about if they want to continue to make changes, and they obviously should because they're not a good enough team. It seems like we're waiting for Artemi Panarin to decide, or the Rangers to decide if they want to extend him. Probably not. So he'll be moved. And they've been trying to push Mika Zibanejad out the door. Like, who's left that's going to produce offense for this team? They're already one of the worst offenses in the league, and all of their offense of late runs through Zibanejad and Panarin. So I look at that and I say, I see Brennan Othman, who still doesn't have an NHL goal, and like you said, just doesn't seem to be in sync. Brett Berard's back down. Gabe Perreault isn't exactly lighting things up now, and he's been getting top 6 opportunities. Unless they have the greatest offseason in the history of off seasons in terms of acquisitions, who is going to put the puck in the net in the 26-27 Rangers if they deliver more on all of these changes? I don't know. I didn't know how it was going to all work out after all the moves they made last year, but I didn't think it was going to be the same kind of offense, and it's really been even less than that. And it's I get JT Miller. Fox has been hurt. JT Miller seems like he's been healthy maybe for about 3 games this year, playing through it. Trocheck was hurt at the beginning of the year, but you have to have some play drivers, and I don't know where they're going to be if they are successful in removing these other 2 guys from the roster.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a good point.
I will also add that I bet Seattle is going to have the Kraken team is going to have an awesome night tonight for the money on the board that Lindgren and Kakko put up. and got the win last night. So good on them.
How about that
They got
trolling post by the Kraken too?
So
See
good.
them both.
A big win in a big city. That was
Yeah,
good.
just had those
I also
two
love
looking
that
like
Lane
they're-
Lambert calls Kako Cox. That was good. Like,
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Does he?
Yeah. In the post
Maybe
game
that,
video they
maybe that
posted.
was the problem. Maybe that was the problem the whole time. Like you just need to give the kid some confidence. Call him a cock. See what he does.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, guys, before we give our love to our sponsor, Novig? No? Okay. Well, we'll be back
All
at
good.
it tomorrow with our bonus voicemail episode. And as always, this show is presented by Novig, the future of sports betting. On Novig, you play against other real users, not the house, and it's the only commission-free exchange, so you keep every dollar you win. You'll get better odds than traditional sportsbooks, meaning you're 10 times more likely to win in the long run. Choose the best odds or offer your own. Trade Novig coins for fun or Novig cash to win real prizes. Sign up with code DailyFaceoff in all caps to get $50 in Novig coins when you spend $5 on your first purchase. Available in most states. You must be 21 or older to play with no purchase necessary. Tonight, we're going to go with the New York Islanders on the money line. They're in Winnipeg, and they are underdogs. So hoping to keep the good vibes rolling against a Winnipeg Jets team that was on a bad skid but has turned it around a little bit as of late. But I got faith in the pesky orange and blue boys. So we're going with the Islanders on the money line. That's going to wrap up today's show, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see some more Tri-State hockey content, don't forget to leave a like and comment on the video below, and also subscribe to the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel.